You might recognize this knockoff Thomas Transformer toy, and you might also recognize this animation. This is Transformers, a Transformers Thomas the Tank Engine parody series made by James Farr. It uploaded to YouTube in 2009, and this bootleg toy is clearly inspired by it. James Farr himself even made a video unboxing multiple knockoff toys based on his animations. This one included. But did you ever wonder where this knockoff came from? Like, was this based on another toy? Well, I have the answer to that question. In this video, I will be covering this knockoff Thomas Transformer toy, as well as the original toy that it was ripped from. But first, I'm going to cover the Thomas knockoff. So, this knockoff goes by a few different names, like Super Robot Transformable Thomas, Super Thomas, and my favorite, Train. The one I got is called Super Robot Train. I also just discovered while doing research on this toy that some versions came packaged with the bootleg DVD. The whole DVD was ripped and uploaded to the Internet Archive. I had no idea this was a thing, so shout out to the China Fake Wiki for digging this information up. The contents of the DVD are just 4 Season 8 episodes dubbed in Chinese, those being Henry and the Wishing Tree, Too Hot for Thomas, James Gets a New Coat, and Thomas to the Rescue. Chinese dubs of Thomas episodes are so rare that I thought they didn't even exist for the longest time. I thought the show was banned in China, but I believe it isn't. Even if it was banned in China, it would still be dubbed in Mandarin Chinese for Taiwan, and I believe these dubs did come from Taiwan originally and were later aired in China, but with a little touch of censorship, from what little information I have at least. It would not surprise me if the show was censored in some way. I mean, come on, it's China.
We all live under Chinese censorship.
If anyone knows exactly what was changed and censored in the Chinese airings of Thomas and Friends, let me know. I cannot find any information on this at all. Other than the rare Chinese dubs of some Season 8 episodes, nothing really special about this bootleg DVD, but it's neat that it exists. There's also other variants of this toy. Some variants ain't too different, like this one with the sword and shield, which comes from the original toy that this is based on, while others are completely different, like this one. Instead of steam locomotives, they're bullet locomotives, and it comes with this coach that has a Tommy Rusty face. These remind me so much of Leo Kim Video's Custom Action Thomas. And this one is pretty odd too. It's a fire truck with Stanley's face. I'm not really sure what Stanley toy this comes from. It kind of looks like the take-along face, but it's not really an exact match. There's other weird ones too, but I ain't got much information on these other variants since they seem to be very rare. So now let's actually talk about the toy itself. I ordered this on eBay directly from China in December, and it also arrived in December, so that was pretty quick. But oh boy, the box was in really rough shape. Do note, I bought this brand new, and the box came like this. It's missing the card back. All I got was the plastic blister. I really don't know what happened here, but it's just the box, and the contents inside ain't damaged, so I really don't care. What remains of the box has the name, a bootleg Thomas logo in Chinese, some artwork that I'm assuming was stolen from something official, and some other images. I did translate the logo, and it gave me Combined Train. And translating this text, I got Super Transformable 3-in-1. I mean, that's pretty accurate. Other than Super Robot Train, there's no funny mistranslations on the packaging. Since it's missing the card back, I have no idea if it had anything in English on it. This seems to be a fully Chinese version of this toy. Inside the box, you get Percy, Thomas, and James. You'll notice they look nothing like their original designs. Even though they are not the engines they're supposed to be, the designs ain't too bad, but the original toy that this was based on looks way better. But we'll get to that. The first time handling this toy, I knew right away that the quality was absolutely awful. As soon as I took them out of the box for the first time, James's cab/wing attachment just fell apart. I did put it back together best I could, but it will not fully clip back together. His cab also won't stay on, so that's great. Thomas's cab won't stay on either, and he's a bit discolored. His boiler is a different color from his cab and smoke box. Percy stays together just fine, until I popped his face and smoke box right off. Yeah, there was zero quality control on this. Quality control? In my Chinese bootlegs? Never heard of it. They also have couplers for connecting to each other, except for James. Since James and Thomas's cabs are so loose, they just come apart while being pulled. So these engines ain't good at pulling things. That was their locomotive forms. Now let's transform them into their robot form. They come apart and combine together, so here's a little montage of me transforming them. Now, spoiler alert, this low quality knockoff actually stays together better than the official toy that it's based on. Once it's transformed, you might notice all 3 faces are visible. But who needs 3 faces when you got 4? Yes, this thing has 4 faces. Never mind the fact that they all share Thomas's face. Oh, and the wing attachment does not stay on very well. Also, this doesn't seem to be Optimus Prime. This appears to be Optimus James Prime, I guess. Yeah, James is the main robot, while Thomas is his right shoulder. Also, look at all this excess plastic around the hands. That's some quality right there. It has some articulation, the arms move up and down, but no elbow bend. The legs also move up and down, and can be bent at the knees. And the wings can be moved. Well, if you can keep the attachment on, that is. It's very limited articulation, so don't expect to do any cool poses with this thing. Also, is it just me, or are the hands on backwards? I did not transform this thing wrong. This is just a design flaw. They're always backwards. And this isn't a thing with this bootleg either. The original toy has this same flaw. So, I think I've talked enough about Optimus Prime. Now for what you actually came here for. The original toy that this bootleg is based on. Well, here it is. I present to you, Loco Squad. Now, there is very little information on this toy, but I believe it was released in 1997. I'm also not sure if this toy is still being produced today. Other than eBay and other online stores, a common place people find this toy is in train museums, which is interesting. So, let's start with the box. The box says $11.95, which is not what I paid for this thing. The engines have their names on the box. You got Black Thunder, Green Flash, and Blue Star. When they're fully transformed, they turn into Loco Commander. So, let's get this thing out of the box. It comes with this cardboard collector card. There is also a company name on the card and the box. Leadershine Enterprise Company Limited. I looked them up and found other Transformer toys made by them, and according to the site Hong Kong Company Directory, the company still exists, but I could not find a website or anything else related to it. It also comes with a sword and shield, which I'll talk more about later. So, first thing I'll tell you after handling this toy is the quality is much nicer. The coupler on Green Flash is pretty stiff and feels like it's going to break, so I won't force it. Other than that, the quality is pretty good. I think these designs look much better than the bootleg as well. Also, I'm not really sure what engines these are supposed to be based on, but I can take a guess. Black Thunder reminds me a lot of the Southern Pacific Daylight. Green Flash looks like a wood-burning locomotive of some sort due to the chimney shape. And Blue Star sort of looks like a Hudson class, a J1B Hudson specifically, but those are my guesses. So, now I'm going to transform it into Loco Commander. The transformation process is identical to the bootleg, so I won't say much. Here's one little difference. These circular slots that hold Black Thunder together in locomotive form are missing from the bootleg James counterpart. Only these tiny tabs hold James together. I will also say that the legs do not stay on very well. I said this earlier, the legs on the bootleg stay on much better than the original toy, so I guess the bootleg is better in that respect. The wing attachment doesn't stay on very well either, but it does stay on much better than the knockoff. But he can hold his sword and shield just fine. Aside from the loose legs and wing attachment, everything else snaps together and stays in place. One thing I noticed is the way the knockoff stands. It leans a bit with its legs and arms further apart from its body, compared to Loco Commander, who stands up pretty straight. This causes balancing issues with the knockoff, so it likes to fall over more. Now, here's something I was wondering. Can the bootleg hold Loco Commander's sword and shield? And yes, it can. Well, he can hold the sword just fine, but the shield is very loose and just falls off. But it does technically fit. Now, here's another thing I was wondering. Can I swap Loco Commander's limbs with the knockoffs and vice versa? Well, the first thing I tried was the wing attachment. The bootleg one went on better than the official one, and it stays locked in place. The official one did not fit any better on the bootleg though, as it's very loose and just falls off. I tried the arms next, and well, they fit just fine on both. Next were the legs. Loco Commander's legs fit on the knockoff, but they're very loose, and the knockoff legs don't fit on Loco Commander. It seems the mold is too tall on the bootleg, legs, so the legs can't clear the body. And so, what we're left with is a legless Loco Commander and a knockoff that can't stand and will just fall apart if you look at it funny. And yeah, that's about everything there is to show. While the Loco Squad toy is way better quality and looks better, the Thomas knockoff has this bizarre charm to it. It really makes me wish an official Thomas Transformer toy existed, one in a similar style to this one, with much better quality hopefully. There are a few other train Transformer toys, some original designs, as well as other Thomas knockoffs. There is one other Thomas Transformer knockoff that has caught my eye. This Bumblebee that turns into Thomas. Thomas's face comes split in half, which attaches to the shoulders, and when transformed into vehicle mode, he becomes a very American looking 040 and has 2 funnels. Honestly, this should have been Percy and not Thomas, but it's kinda neat. This one is called the SA01T Steve Train. Yeah, that sounds very bootleggy and not so official. I did find some listings for this toy, so if anyone would like to see my review on it and maybe some other train Transformer toys, then send me a super thanks or something, cause these things are fucking expensive. So, would I recommend these toys? Well, I'm not sure. If you like trains, Transformers, or both, then I would recommend Loco Squad over the Thomas knockoff. The quality of the knockoff is pretty bad, while Loco Squad's quality is pretty decent. I don't know if I would even recommend knockoff toys anyway, but I know there are people out there who are into collecting weird and bizarre knockoffs, so if you're one of those people, then sure, why not? I do like knockoffs like this, so I'm happy with it. Overall, I just think they're neat. So, what do you think of Loco Squad and the knockoff that came from it? I already said that I like the knockoff due to the weird bootleg charm that it has, but the quality has a lot to be desired. Loco Squad, on the other hand, is a pretty decent Transformer toy. The plastic quality is nice, it feels nice in the hand, and it's painted very well. It's a much better toy overall. And with that was my review of the Optimus Prime knockoff and the toy that inspired it.